In the coming day, Jesus Christ will return to the earth as the Millennial Messiah, or the second coming.
If there are any among this people who should ever apostatize, prepare your backs for a good whipping. One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
We do not say that all of the saints will be spared and saved from the coming day of desolation, from the atomic holocausts that surely shall be.
God damn you! God damn you all to hell!
And young women, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
Travis Wayne Goodsell woke up this morning with inspiration to do a video to focus on the elderly. So the other two that I had listed, 3rd Nephi 11, Revelation 19 with DNC 58. Gonna have to still wait. This is a dangerous time for Mormons who are unbelievers, and it's being made very clear that not only is the enemy escalating their attacks on me, but Mormons likewise are giving up on me as well. Normally, I would be getting hundreds of views per video. And so those of you who can see the home or video page of mine can see that there's a purposeful attack to murder you by the enemy, as they are deceiving you and you're refusing to accept that. The main problem is that Mormons have fallen victim to the big con of Christianity. The Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, as well as the Bible, are all Jewish. None of it is Christian. And for Mormons to be ignorant of this fact that is blatantly obvious, when Joseph Smith tells us in the first vision that Christianity is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt, and Mormons still claim Jesus is the Christ. The Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ. We're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the first presidency is scheduled still to give their first presidency Christmas devotional tomorrow night. And you can't see the great evil that is a part of this. That you don't understand how you hate the Jews and thus hate the Bible, hate Joseph Smith, hate the Book of Mormon. And so you're not looking for the Jewish Christ. You're waiting for Jesus. Ignoring the fact that Nelson, by switching to "in a coming day," and it's been over a week, and no Jesus, he's a false prophet. You fell for the con. And he's laughing at you. And he, again, tomorrow night, is going to continue to laugh at you, to mock you for your stupidity, for your ignorance, for how he turned you into anti-Semites, to spit on the grave of Joseph Smith, to burn the Book of Mormon. And you run away and hide because you don't want to hear the truth. Bleep you all. So there's some Bible prophecies about this, about your behavior, that we're going over today. My introductions have point and purpose. It's just too many people can't endure to the end of them. When the Book of Mormon is turned into literal history and the Bible into literal history, you're supposed to use science to run the test that even the Bible tells you to run. You will liken the word unto a seed, and you will know a false prophet by their fruits, the results of their predictions of the future. So if you use Christian interpretation, you run the test, you produce the results, no Jesus still, false, automatically. Christianity is false. Any Christian, any Mormon who runs the test can confirm Christianity is abominable, all wrong, and corrupt. So now run the test with the Jews. Hey, everything's been fulfilled. The fruit has all happened. And not a single Mormon, now granted those who are following me and believe, you're not offended because you're not guilty. are at the tree of life. Do you not understand this? The Book of Mormon is the iron rod. It's Jewish, leading you to the tree of life with the prophecies of the latter days and your Christ, who's there at the tree of life. And you're nowhere near it. Thus, you're in the great and abominable spacious building of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you're mocking and laughing at me, because I'm the only one. And you notice how, despite the escalating attacks against me, still I will not deny the Jewish interpretation. This should tell you something, Mormons. I have sacrificed my life for this, to save you, and yet still attack after attack to silence me, to shut me up, to hurt me, to murder me. And I still won't deny. And yet you think you're not going to deny that Jesus is real. So, let's get into the scriptures. Some things that I found as I was going over this. Exodus 34, 4-5. What is interesting is that Moses was in their midst. He was in Utah, starting his ministry, doing YouTube videos. And Mormons are waiting, and they're waiting for an idol god, the golden cow of the Book of Mormon. As literal history, I do my pictures for a reason. For a reason. And so it's interesting that in verse 5, we have Moses descending from the cloud in Utah. Whereas everybody in Christendom believe that Revelation 19 about descending from the cloud of glory is his second coming. Screwed it all up. But this is where Revelation got it from. It was Exodus 34, verse 5. And the Lord descended in a cloud. Moses. Even though the Lord is separate from Moses in the story, but they're one and the same if you read other passages. Deuteronomy 18, verse 15, for example. He's the Lord. So let me go to 32 for what we're going to talk about. And so I hope maybe you're not taking the threat seriously. Maybe that's also why you're leaving. Is that somehow you think that the church is going to protect you from what is about to happen. And you're not listening to the news that Governor Cox has agreed to deport the majority of you in the state of Utah. And that he's already preparing the jails to lock you up in before kicking you out to the third world country that you never came from. I've been doing the videos all the latter days. Latter days are ending. I want to say over, but apparently Hanukkah. Crap. But nonetheless, I've warned you of what I am learning from the news and from the church news and local news, world news, what our government's up to, what Senator Lee is up to. And they've been trying to kick us out of Utah, to purge Utah of the poor and the undesirable list of discriminating categories. And you're not listening, and you think that everything's going to be just fine, and you're not getting it. You're all in danger. If you're an ex-foe, especially in Evermo, you're in danger in Utah. You are not safe here. This may be your home, but they want you out. And they will make excuses to justify kicking you out. That's why we have a housing crisis. That's why we have such high pollution, is they're purposely trying all different ways to get you out. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is pulling the puppet master strings. You're not listening to me. And so those of you who are elderly, you too, Trump is going to take away Social Security. He says cuts, but you guys are too sensitive snowflakey to believe that he's going to cut it all together. You forget how he does things. You didn't read his books. You didn't listen to him at the rallies. You don't remember what he wanted to do in the first term, but was told no. Now SCOTUS has granted him the kingdom. All of the lawsuits against him are gone. He got away with all his crimes. Nobody else in America gets away with their crimes. There are billionaires who are getting locked up in America for their crimes. And yet Trump gets away with it. And you don't see the conspiracy involved in this. You don't see the danger that is coming. That Trump is not going to be prosecuting anybody. He's going to be murdering you. Because he can get away with it. If you're his enemy, if you're on his enemy list, you're dead. He's not going to go through the legal system. He's not going to wait for Congress. He's not going to wait for a lawsuit in SCOTUS. He's going to do what he wants. Bleep the rest of you. You do not understand the national security threat that is coming. And so, yes, the elderly, you're gone. And this is in the prophecies, that the house of Israel rejects the Jewish Christ. And so they're denied going to Zion. And so the rising generation are those who go to Zion. Because they don't know any better, they weren't taught correctly. They think it's some mosh pit out in Zion. No, no golden calf, no orgy sex. No. None of that. And so, while Moses is in Utah on the 23rd of September 2017, and all Mormons missed him, we get to 32, where the people realize that Jesus hasn't shown yet. He's delaying his coming. It's the Jewish Christ. He's already in their presence, and they didn't know who he is. Amazing how the prophecies are so accurate. So that Moses delayed to come down from the mount. When's his second coming going to be? There are 4 for Mormonism, at least for the latter days, because of the new definitions that are created because of Brigham, turning everything literal history, just like Constantine did to the Jews. And so you have Adam on Diamond first, the big old bombshell scandal that I alone exposed, and now I'm here because the church was pissed. And then the suddenly coming to his Salt Lake temple, oops, Nelson did a boo-boo. And then Jerusalem on Mount Olivet, or Gethsemane, whatever it is. I think it's Olivet. Which would be the same. Gethsemane is oil press, and Olivet is olives. Anyway. Christians screwed up everything. And then, burns with the nuclear power of his sun powers all of Islam that is attacking Israel. And so the surviving Israelites will go through the valley that was created and see Jesus, and then Jesus will condemn them for murdering him and then baptize them into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And then Jesus will come and reign in Independence, Missouri, with the temple that is not even being ground broken. Nelson. Yeah, false prophets. You know them by their failures. So, and we go to 33 to 34. And I expect that those of you who are still listening will be inspired as to where we're going to lead with this. And the Lord said unto Moses, or should I didn't, there's a passage in Deuteronomy of their disobedience, and that ties to section 84, where Joseph Smith talks about Moses being taken out of their midst, and the holy priesthood also, leaving behind the Aaronic priesthood for the ministering of visions and dreams, angels. And that has to do with Joseph. We are going to get to it. Joshua. We should. But in case we don't, I'm going to cover it here. That's Joseph Smith who dies, and we will get into Joshua because Moses is dead. That's Joseph, and thus Jesus is Messiah ben David. Okay, I should have trusted the outline order. And so in 33 and 34, pay attention. And the Lord said unto Moses, Moses is the Lord, but the author is writing it as a story. It's prophecy. Because Deuteronomy 18, and 50, starting at 15, says that he will speak whatever comes to his mind. Thus, he and the Lord are one and the same. And so here, the story author of Exodus is saying that the Lord is speaking to Moses, and it's actually through Moses. one and the same. Whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. We do need 32. Okay. The book. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. This is the book of the law. It doesn't say it here, it says it in the other places. It's 32 and 33. Great. And so, yes, this comes after the whole calf orgy incident. The author doesn't focus on the orgy part, focuses on the gold calf. But nonetheless, that's what it's all about, is the wickedness of the big event, the abomination of desolation. And so in the Exodus story, instead of different rituals of the temple and prostitution in the temple, instead now it's gold cow and orgy sex for the Exodus author. They're the same thing. And if you're brand new and you're still listening, good for you. You're 8.2K plus videos away from everything that you need to know to figure things out. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Oh my God. Suck, Windows. I have to reconfigure this photo screen. Microsoft upgraded. Botched everything. Anyway. So, the month of Kislev. We're going over this all month long because this is the month of Kislev. December 2024. On the 16th of December is the 15th of Kislev. The 15th of months in the Jewish calendars have significance. Passover starts on the 15th. Tabernacles starts on the 15th. The house of Israel's Tabernacles starts on the 15th. And here we go, Kislev starts on the 15th. There is not a coincidence in this. This is done on purpose. And so this was the historical event. This is real, literal history that happened. The Greeks conquered and occupied the Jerusalem temple in 167 BCE. And the Jews call this the abomination of desolation. So when Daniel talks about the abomination of desolation in the latter days, he's referring to this too. For the prophecy of the latter days. So even that Jesus guy, who's a Jewish character of prophecy for the latter days, yeah, what does he do in regards to the temple rituals needing to be set in order, as well as paying for sex? Yeah, Jesus whipping it good. Should that be the theme song? crack that whip. Or you can do whip it. Just whip it, baby. Whip it good. Whip it, baby. Whip it on up. We'll think about it. Whip it. Maybe we'll put both and have an opening and closing hymn. And so that's what you're looking for, is a great and abominable church that will have Joseph Smith murdered, steal his organization, and corrupt the rituals of the temple, adding in a creation story, forcing Mormons to pay for sex with prostitutes. Wonder if we can figure out which religion it is that's the great and abominable church that all Mormons are running away and hiding from. Oh no, we don't want to listen. Hear no truth, speak no truth, see no truth. We're the enemy. How could that be? The church is true. I felt it in my boobs. And so, it was 10 days later, on the 26th of December, 25th of Kislev, when the yawn stretch, trying to come alive. When the Jews, historically, literal history, 164 BCE, had their first Hanukkah. They had taken back the temple from the Greeks, the Maccabean revolt, and set in order the Jewish temple. This has to do with the Book of the Law. If you got the inspiration of Doctrine and Covenants, section 85, like I said, you most likely would. Okay, but this was also the day in 167 BCE, 10 days later, from when they conquered the temple and occupied it, destroyed the altar. It took them 10 days to rebuild the altar and then began offering pigs, and thus the prostitution of the Greeks in the Jerusalem temple. So then you had the little virgin prostitutes hanging outside before the statues. Prostitute. Before. Statue. Before the statue. That's where it comes from. And so when Nelson calls little girls porn, that's what he's saying. You're prostitutes. Learn your place. And Mormons still refuse to be offended with the church for this abuse on them. Despite all the clips that I keep repeating for you in my videos, you still refuse to get it. You still harden your heart and say, no, church is true, this is Jesus's. It's abominable. You just... Are there any Mormons? Are there 10, 50, 100 that are righteous, who want to go to Zion? No. So the prophecies are wrong. There won't be 144,000 Mormons. And so, yeah, 21st is when Ezra, traditionally, this is a prophecy, not literal history. Ezra is not real, because his name is Emmanuel in Paleo-Hebrew, a version of it. He gives his sermon to have no temple prostitution, sex, marriages. And then the Danite temple on Mount Ephraim, this is literal history, and yet it's prophecy also. Amazing how accurate this is. 128 BCE on the 22nd of December. Destroyed by the Maccabees. And then on the 28th, this is when Noah's Ark landed on Mount Ephraim of the Danites. And so the 10 virgins, 10 is Decem, Kislev is the 10th month, all having to do with each other, and Mormons are running away and hiding. The YouTube Mormon employee is rigging the algorithms to get me 1, maybe 2 views per hour. There is a full-on attack to murder you, as you Mormons are lying and denying still after being exposed by the Jews who wrote your scriptures. The church is true. I felt it in my bones. Okay. 23rd September 2017, and he's been here the whole time. And you get offended. You leave them alone. They're good people. It's Jesus. Jesus is gonna murder you, Travis. I already challenged the priests of Baal this year. Jesus didn't show. You missed that, didn't you? The flooding of Utah, and then the lightning strike. I did it. Where's Jesus? Is he still taking a piss? You never read it from the Hebrew, did you? Nope. Or one of the English translations that mentions it. I think they put relieve himself rather than taking a piss. And so Mormons don't understand why I mock Jesus, why I mock the prophets, why I mock Mormons for being illiterate. They get offended because they're guilty. Okay, now it's time for Joshua. And then we gotta go back to Deuteronomy. This was not one complete book. This was put behind Deuteronomy because of Christians. The first creed of Christianity said that all the Jews are not prophets and revelators. It's literal history. Kind of a problem if you're going to try to claim that they're prophesying of Jesus, even revealing the day and the hour of his birth with a star. There's some problems. Are the Jews prophets and revelators, or aren't they? Oh no, only for Jesus. Nothing else. Nope, nothing else. Fruits are all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. The first creed is false. Should have caught on. So, Joseph Smith is dead. And so, the latter-day Messiah Ben Joseph, or Moses. Moses is Joseph in this story of Jesus. And Jesus is now Messiah Ben David. Hey, just like that Matthew guy who says that Jesus is the direct descendant of seed, egg, baby of King David. And he's not. He's immaculately conceived now. Joseph, who buys Mary at the temple, oh, right, that's not approved by Christians, and so that was rejected from their Bible collection. You gotta have Mary as a temple prostitute, otherwise you're wrong. It all ties together. And so, he's now setting in order the temple with the Ark of the Covenant. And he takes his Ark of the Covenant, parts the waters, and plants his seed of the house of Israel in the promised land. On purpose. Those Jews are very sexually oriented in their innuendo. But it has multiple translations, not just the one that you guys went straight to the gutter with. And so, verse 6, be strong and of good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. And he uses the book of the law of those whose names were written in it. And so, is it chapter 2? Oh, no, it's the spies. One of these, I saw the list of the house of Israel. And maybe I've passed it. Let's go back to 1 again. Verse 12. And to the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh. No, that's a specific thing. Okay. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. I don't have text, so I have to go through each chapter clicking on it. The disadvantage of this program. Okay? So the same concept. There needs to be a fall. There needs to be a transfer of authority. An exodus. And then getting to Zion, building it. And this is the pattern that you're seeing here. Moses is dead. The transfer of authority is given to Jesus. And the Exodus has occurred. He's setting in order the temple and establishing Zion with the inheritance lots. Lots of inheritance. It's the Jewish pattern. It's all the same, regardless of what book you go to. You can find it. It's there. There's the book of the law. Write down the verse. Observe to do according to the law. There it is, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, and thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have I not commanded thee, be strong and of good courage? Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee wherever thou goest. And then Joshua commands the officers, saying, pass through the host, and command the people, saying, prepare you victuals, for within 3 days ye shall pass over this Jordan. This is the Exodus. Parting of the waters. Been there, done that in 2020. But this is the Hanukkah version for this month, or Kislev version. To go in to possess the land, Zion, which the Lord your God giveth you to possess it. And then the Reubenites, Gadites, and half of Manasseh. And your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side Jordan. But ye shall pass before your brethren armed. Now this is the parable that Joseph Smith gave in section 101 after the destruction of the Salt Lake Valley. Moses, the man like Moses, is then ordered to take the armies of Israel and go and claim the land. And so I see that here from Joseph. But we're still waiting to see how the fall is going to happen. We know the government version that's happened and is going to happen. Okay. I don't want to focus too much on that, because I already covered that video for you. And if you missed it, good luck scrolling down to find it. 31 in Deuteronomy. 9 and 10 is parenthesized. And Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests of the sons of Levi. Remember the prophecy, the sons of Levi shall offer an offering in righteousness? Yeah, that's in Zion. Has nothing to do with baptisms for the dead of the Danites, to extort your kindred dead. They won't be saved unless you pay us money. You know, prostitution, you have to pay them money in order to have sex. You have to pay them money in order to save your dead. And you still don't catch on to the crime being committed against you? I mean, this is why the church tells you not to watch R-rated movies, because you don't watch The Godfather, you don't watch The Sopranos, you don't watch other crime organization movies. You watch Living Next Door to the Mob, a Mormon movie, where you don't learn why he's a mobster, other than he says he is. He's in witness protection in Utah, rather than Arizona. I like that show. I want to watch that one again too. I don't think it's called witness protection though. I have to look it up. Mary McCormick, I think is her name. TV show Witness Protection with Mary McCormack. In Plain Sight. Yeah. I like her. U.S. Marshal. So yeah, going to Zion is witness protection for Mormons. You've been exposed of being kidnapped and tortured in the great and abominable church. So you gotta be put into witness protection to go to Zion. With Arnold Schwarzenegger as the eraser. Even the reversion Eraser, which I think was an Amazon movie, that was pretty good too. Anyway. So much stuff to watch. And still not in Zion. Okay, so 9 and 10. And so, yeah, this is about Zion. This is the Zion version in Deuteronomy rather than in the book of Jesus. Book of Jesus, Moses is Joseph Smith, and so Jesus is the Moses character. But in Deuteronomy, Moses is the Moses character. And so it's the same stories, it's just different character names. And so, yeah, Pharaoh is the one who is Nelson of the Great and Abominable Church. That they had cooed the government, or cooed the religion from Joseph. Yeah. Because Joseph died, and a new Pharaoh destroying the rituals of the temple. They don't really get into prostitution. That's not until the Exodus story with Moses and Aaron, and gold cow, and orgy sex. But yeah, they tell different stories. So you got to be able to pick out the patterns from them to see the prophecies that they're prophesying about. Knowing the revelations of 2017 to 2024 being the latter days, so that you put it into the proper time frame, because it's all happened. That's why I'm able to boldly say this now, because now I know it happened. Prophecies fulfilled, revelations fulfilled. Joseph Smith's church is true, Book of Mormon true, Bible true, because they're Jewish, not Christian. And so, the priests of the sons of Levi, which bear the ark of the covenant. Moses is now in charge. He set in order the temple. And in this particular instance, the Ark of the Covenant is being used, just like it is in Doctrine and Covenants, section 85, verse 8. The naughty president of the church who is not authorized to set in order the temple and make changes. Yeah. So we'll get to it. We're getting to it. And unto all the elders of Israel. The Jewish authors were putting elders in the context of the old men who were leaders of the people. The Book of Mormon uses the elders of the Jews for that one instance with Laban and the head beheading, in which they had somewhat of political authority over the people as tribal leaders. That's Genesis, talking about the 12 sons being the 12 tribes, being the 12 tribal leaders. And so that tradition is carried through here, talking about the elders of Israel, the ones with the birthright blessing of each tribe. And here we go with the context. And Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years. So 2017 is the start. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. This is revelation that they just gave you. This is why, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles, that's why this year's Feast of Tabernacles was so special. Plain, pure, and precious. I wanted to make sure you heard that. And so then the law as well. That's the bishop's message. I'm hoping will be on a Sunday. 22nd is a Sunday. Next week is Sunday. If tomorrow could be the fall, please. So that all week the transfer takes place, so that next Sunday the call can go out of reading the law at the pulpits of church. Church has been destroyed. Which most everybody would already know, and thus only the people who would know to go to church, to hear about, if you want to go to Zion, come talk with the bishop, and thus bear the Ark of the Covenant and the Exodus to Zion. I know what I'm planning here. It just needs to happen the way I want it to happen, and there will be joy. Love her as I loved her, and there will be joy. Marriage is what brings us together today. Section 85. The one mighty and strong. This is taken directly from Deuteronomy 18:15. The man like Moses. Verse 8 is verse 20. The false prophet. And so the false prophet is dead in verse 20 of Deuteronomy 18. And sure enough, in verse 8, Joseph Smith sticks to the theme. Bye-bye, like the vivid shaft of Jupiter, who is Amen. Jupiter is the planet who is the man-child of Revelation chapter 12. The astronomy date of the 23rd of September 2017. And so the man like Moses is to set in order the temple, the house of God. Temple, same thing. It's sad to hear Mormons get this confused, that they don't make the connection, even though the presidents of the church and other prophets and manuals and teachers say house of God is the temple. Because on the Salt Lake temple is house of the Lord, and in other temples there's a sign, house of the Lord. You'd think Mormons would be smart enough to make the connection. Nope. They think that sex, S-E-X, is a four-letter word. S-E-X. See? 4 letters. Unbelievable. Molly was so cute. I went with some friends to a dance place, and this one guy was grinding up against me. Monty. Oh my God. And now she's being prostituted, has 15 billion kids. I wonder if she did do what she told me she would do for her husband. I wonder, that lucky bastard. And so, after setting in order the house, there you see, arranged by lot, the inheritances of the saints, whose names are found in what? The book of the law. Not a coinkydink. And so, yeah, this is how I have it all planned out. The call from the bishops, you go in to talk with them to see if you can go. Make sure you're not an anti-Joseph Mormon, anti-Christ, Jewish Christ, apostate, Korah from the Book of Mormon. And he'll be writing your names in the list of the Book of the Law for your inheritance when you get to Zion. That list, book, will be compared with the one he gave us while we're waiting for you to get there. When you get there, when you get there. Yeah, that used to be the song at the Utah theaters before the movie started, while you're sitting there getting in your seats, and then they'd have on the screen questionnaires and quizzes and facts, movie trivia, and stuff that I didn't really want to watch and read. But I remember that song playing most every time, most likely because it was the same theater that I went to. Anyway, and so yeah, studying of the Ark of God. You're not allowed to do it. Only the head of the church is. And in case you're confused as to who the head of the church is, why didn't you run the test? That's all you had to do, Mormons. You didn't want to do it. And so now you're ashamed that you've been conned because you didn't run the test. That you fell for the deception of read, ponder, and pray, get the right feeling, don't produce the results. Manifest the truth, guys. What did you think it meant? What did you think it meant? Dear God. Okay. So, verse 11. This was never intended to be scripture. This was a letter to W.W. Phelps. And so it was Brigham Young who decided to have it published the year before he died, because he believed that Mormons would think that Joseph is verse 8. And that he's verse 7. He set in order the temple that Joseph Smith screwed up, and yet is the one who screwed it up and framed and blamed Joseph for it. With prostitution, altering the rituals, the endowment covenant path of bondage and murder. And so, as a result, the great and abominable church is what Joseph is now talking about in verse 11. Well, you need to read verse 9 first. All they who are not found written in the book of remembrance, book of the law, shall find none inheritance in that day, but they shall be cut asunder. This is where Joseph warns you in verse 40 of the second vision. Listen to your Christ, or you will be cut off, precisely as it stands in our New Testament of Acts, which is not cut off, but utterly destroyed, from the Greek. It just has destroyed in the English. Joseph Smith knows that it's utterly destroyed, because if you read before and after it, you'll see utterly with utterly wasted, and then you'll see destroyed. Joseph knows. Trust him. Mormons don't. And so, their portion shall be appointed among unbelievers. You got to go back out into the world, because the only place that will be of peace, safety, and refuge, where it won't be a war, is Zion. And you have to go back out into the world because you're an unbeliever. You're still waiting for Jesus, and you think you're going to come to Zion, do you? Get the hell out. And so, yeah, you'll be weeping, wailing, and sarcasm. You're ugly, Travis. Your room's a mess. Your beaten tone are inappropriate. Your audio sucks. Why can't you be professional? You're making excuses for being wicked and stupid. Stop it. And so here again, and they who are of the high priesthood, and this is capitalized. We all knew that it's the leaders of the church, the CEOs and the board of directors, whose names are not found written in the book of the law. No duh. How did Joseph Smith know? Or that are found to have apostatized. That's why you're not in the book of the law. Or have been cut off from the church. Joseph Smith knows what he's talking about. You should not think that you can edit him, Willard Richards. As well as the lesser priesthood or the members. In that day shall not find an inheritance among the saints of the sun god at noonday in Zion. So then, yeah, it refers to Ezra, which is interesting. We should go to Ezra. Ezra 2, 61 and 62. Because we just did that Ezra video. Now we're referring to it again. And I referred to it again in this video. It's the month of December. Do you remember the time in December when the church fell and Mormons weeping? Beautiful song. I think it's September, but and the children of the priests, the children of Habiah, the children of Koz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called after their name. They sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy. See what happened here? They were marrying of the abominable church, who were prostitutes. Brilliant, Joseph. Brilliant. and was called after their name. They sought to register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore they, as polluted, put from the priesthood. It's just 61 and 62, wasn't it? Oh, look, there's the Urim and Thummim. They should not eat of the most holy things till there stood up a priest with Urim and Thummim. The whole congregation together was 40 and 2,303 score. Brilliant, Joseph. Brilliant. So that's more than 144,000. No, that's less. It's only 2,000. But then there's others. Well, that's horses, camels, women singing. So did you see what happened there? Joseph was tying the priest with the Urim and Thummim to the one mighty and strong, to set in order the temple, to arrange by lot the inheritances with the book of the law. What is Urim and Thummim for? Signs in the heavens. Brilliant ending. Brilliant.